We were actually, it's good to see you because we were on stage here last year talking about brands. You were roaming around VidCon in June, just doing your thing, which was great. But there is a lot going on. So first, tell the audience a little bit about what you do if they don't know. If you don't know, you should. But talk a little bit about what you do, type of content you create, and sort of where you are today versus a year ago.
Yeah, so I think most people knows me as a TikTok creator. So during COVID, I started making a lot of content and blew out on TikTok. And in the last year, I think Jim has said focusing a lot on YouTube Shorts because just exploring all avenues. As a creator, I think you should explore as many platforms as possible. Yeah.
Yeah. So talk about the type of content you create. Do you think about yourself as a niche creator, or are you just doing everything? Like, what are you doing today? And actually, how'd you start? Like, is your first video still out there? Can we see it?
I think, of course, I remove a lot of my initial videos because when you look back, I mean, when I first started making content, I thought that was the best content I ever made. But of course, when you make content for 1 month, 2 months, you look back, you realize that it's so bad.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not that your content's bad, but I know I look at my first videos. I look at my video I posted yesterday, and I'm still like they're bad. So, but yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah. What are the content you're making now? What's your niche? What's the type of it? Like, how do you think about creating content? What's your content vision?
So for me, I create content. Okay, so it depends what type of content you want to make. If you make food content, you're just hitting out to food creators. And comedy being one of the biggest genre, I target a lot at comedy. So specifically comedy that everyone will understand. Try not to have any language in that, and everyone in the world can understand them.
Right. It's very transferable. It's very funny and very transferable. Yeah. Talk to me. Let's talk about platforms for a minute, because when you think about platforms you create on, what platform did you start on?
I started on Instagram, of course.
Started on Instagram.
But of course, it's very hard to be discovered. Yep. So of course, when TikTok came out, the For You page was the thing, and it was the best to get discovered. Like, if you're an up-and-coming creator, TikTok is the best to, of course, get discovered the content at the point of time.
So you moved from Instagram to TikTok.
Yes.
And TikTok was your home for a long time. Still is your home in many ways, right?
Yep, of course.
But you started doing more on shorts as well.
Yep.
Yep. Anything all vertical? Are you doing any long-form content? Are you doing...
Also exploring some long-form. I think many creators, they start and they go straight to long-form and they realize that it's very difficult to sustain because like every video needs to be like 15 minutes or 8 minutes. But the best way is actually to get started on shorts, get an audience, then slowly move to long form. Yeah.
Right, so using that. And I really want to explore that for a minute. How do you think about, first of all, the short form platforms? How do you think about TikTok versus Reels versus Shorts? Are you creating one piece of content and putting it on all of them? Or are you creating different content for each platform?
Of course, as a creator, you want to do as little work to get as many results as possible. So of course, repurpose in different platforms. But I think one advice is don't post all of them at the same time because
right, don't post at the same time. Yeah.
So I try to stagger the posting. So maybe different days or even like weeks after, or different music, different cuts. Yeah, because sometimes for the same video, you take a few takes, you can just replace them.
So you replace the cuts, do slightly different cuts, different music.
Yeah.
What about the audiences that you see on those three platforms? Are they different? Is it a different type of people that watch you on Shorts versus Reels versus TikTok?
Yeah, so I think it's a bit different because I never once go to a platform and say, hey, follow me on other platform. I grew every platform from scratch because I believe that if I do so, sooner or later, only one platform will be performing and it will just die off. You just have one main platform, you will not be good in other platform. Yeah.
Right, so when you think about each of those platforms and doing different things, are you building separate communities on each platform? Do you think that your community is the same across all of them? I mean, put it this way. Let's say all those people watch you on TikTok. All those people watch you on Shorts. Would they know each other? Would they be, if they were in the same room like they are now, would they have fun together?
I think they're slightly different. I try to build like individual communities so you get the most out of it. But of course, now there's a lot of platforms to integrate all together. So also exploring some of that so that it's not so tiring to maintain different communities.
Yeah. Okay, so got these platforms, they're all working for you. What other platforms are you thinking about?
Of course, all short-form vertical platforms, IG Reels, Facebook Reels, they're also good at it as well. Yeah.
Are you on B-Reel yet? B-Reel?
No.
We did a B-Reel before you. I put everyone here on B-Reel. Are you thinking about LinkedIn?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, you're building a business, so yeah.
Yeah, of course. I feel that every platform has its own like algorithm. So recently, I managed to also crack the LinkedIn algorithm. So that's my next focus. Yeah.
So when you think about short versus long form platforms, because you're
Yeah.
starting to think about doing stuff on long form, would you or have you taken your short form content and sort of made a long form version of them, or is it doing something brand new on those longer form platforms?
I think one way, of course, is to put compilation. That's the most common. I think initially when I couldn't monetize on TikTok, what I did was I put different compilations and I put on other platforms and I could monetize. I think that's one good way. But of course, if you want to move on to longer form content, it needs to be created for long form. Like I think there's a difference between a short form and long form. So it should never be a short form compiled to a long form or a long form cut into a short form. It should be like different.
Right, yeah, make sure you're very intentional about how you're doing it and what you're doing. Are you working with any of the platforms like Jelly Smack or Spotter, any of those that will actually help you take your content and put it on other platforms, or maybe pay for your back catalog? Any of them come to you to try and work with you?
Actually, I have a meeting with tomorrow.
With who?
Yeah, Jelly Smack.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. You want any hints? No, I won't give you. They're great. They're a really good. They're a good company. So I'm sure it'll be really interesting, and they can probably help you out a lot. And actually, for what it's worth, Jelly Smack, one of the guy who runs US, I actually worked for a couple years, and he's built studios for television companies. He's now got a studio he's building in LA to help with creators like you, to help you build long form and other things. So there's a lot of cool stuff they can do. I feel like I'm selling Jelly Smack here. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about your audience. So just take me back for a minute. How long have you been creating? How long have you been, like 3 years, 5 years, 10 years?
Since COVID, 3 years.
3 years,
Yeah.
okay. That's a lot of growth in 3 years. Wow. Now I know that you also are an athlete, but that's something that sort of inspired you, but have you walked away from that a little bit?
Yeah, so I think recently I took part in my last competition because even though I stopped training, it's always at the back of my head. Like because of COVID, suddenly everything ended and like it just feels like something is missing. So I went on to take part in my last competition in Singapore. Yeah.
Wow. Wow, and that, so did creating sort of take the place of that for you, or is it just there's a part of your life that was there and nothing's going to take that place?
I guess during COVID, when I was preparing for the Olympics, there was an option in front of me to continue to train for Olympics. I mean, without getting paid and not sure whether it will happen, or there's a chance to do it as a full-time career. And of course, I didn't want to risk something that may not happen. I don't want to let my life be controlled by fate, so I took control. And of course, I do something that I could control.
Yeah, and 5.5 billion views a year later, here you are. So I'm really fascinated about this. So you put your dad in your videos, which I think is so cool. Being a dad myself, that's great. But why'd you start putting your dad in the video? It's kind of Alfred Hitchcock-esque, actually. But what was the impetus for that? What was the inspiration? And how does your dad feel about it?
So yeah, I mean, when I first started making videos, I tried to make all sorts of videos. Anything that has views, I would do it. Like as long as it's of course respectful, not offensive. So during COVID in Singapore, when everything is locked down, I ran out of videos. I tried to repurpose my old videos. I tried anything I can. I just ran out of videos. So of course you see who is at home that could film with you. So of course I asked my mom first, and then she didn't want to.
No.
So she, together with me, like forced my dad to appear in just one video. So we thought it was just one video because circuit breaker or the quarantine for Singapore is almost going to end. But just nice, as it was about to end, the video somehow like blew out in some platforms, and that's how I convinced in the second video and third video, and yeah, slowly.
Does he have his own channel now?
Yeah, he has a,
Yeah, and he's got his own fans?
Yeah, I think, yeah. I think his comedy is stronger.
Oh, he's comedy stronger. I would say you should teach me how to do that, but I'm terrible at comedy, so it's not going to work for me. Let's talk a little bit about monetization and how you monetize. We've talked a lot today about shopping, shoppertainment, live stream shopping, selling things. What are you doing and how are you thinking about that side of monetizing your audience?
So I think shopping is a very cool function, especially next year, like live shopping. I think in the past, everything is promo codes, like where you give a creator something, use my code, like MW25 or 25% off, like that's the past. But I think the next year, both TikTok and I think YouTube, I mean, TikTok has already started like TikTok Shop. People can just buy from the shop itself. And I think next year YouTube is doing like live shopping where you can integrate your Shopify store, you can check out from there. So it's quite curious to see like which one will turn out better, like whether TikTok as a inbuilt like a Shopee, Lazada, or a YouTube where you link it to Shopify. So yeah,
So what does Ming Wei sell?
for me, I still love to make content more because I believe content is still key. Like you can get, I mean, for me, it's about ad revenue from the content. Yeah.
So do you have a vision that you're going to create a brand, or you're going to do, I mean, I won't say makeup products, but T-shirts or I don't know, other things like that. Maybe it's a course. Maybe it's how to be a comedian.
Yes. So I always wanted to make a T-shirt, so I already made. So I already had all the copies.
So that's a cool
made.
T-shirt. Show it off. Come on, go like this. Very nice.
Yeah. So it's an M and a
Yep.
fist because I was from Taekwondo. So that's how I.
Oh,
came.
cool. And so is that a brand you want to build out and do more with?
Yeah, of course, like a separate brand. So still working on the mechanics, but everything printed, everything sorted, just how to launch it. Yeah.
So when you talk about ad revenue, and by the way, there's a lot of people who can help you with that here, and I'm sure you have lots of people who are helping you already, so you may not need it. But when you think about the ad revenue, give me a sense, and don't give any of the specific figures away, but you work with a bunch of different platforms. What platform actually pays the best?
Well, I think.
You don't have to say. All right, all right.
Because I mean, I can say like I think it really depends on the platform. I think for TikTok, it's mostly like brand deals because many brands are spending on TikTok now when the platform is rising. For YouTube, it's more of like ad revenue, so something or like the Shorts fund, something that can keep you going even though there's no brand deal. So I would say it's a mixture of like both that complements each other. Yeah.
Yeah, and TikTok has announced that they're now sharing ad revenue. Really interesting. It's really early on, but they're starting to share ad revenue with creators. Shorts, YouTube is going to share ad revenue with creators next year. Do you have high hopes for those plans?
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, I mean like if I'm getting like nothing much now, I mean like it's better than nothing. Yeah, as long as there's something, it helps to support the team. Yeah.
And so I know you're also, you're working with ad revenue and working there and thinking about other things there, but how are you thinking about moving beyond that traditional ad and sponsor-based monetization? I mean, yes, T-shirts and other things, but what else is on the plate for you?
I think really exploring maybe like you say like live shopping, like live streaming. I think that's a good way for brands to jump on it. I think next year a lot of brands will definitely jump on that. So instead of you trying to sell yourself, you work with many creators. They can sell it for you, and you get many retailers. Yeah.
One of the other things that you're doing is you've gone from creator to CEO. You're running your own business, Boom Digital Media. Talk about Boom Digital Media and what you're doing there.
Yeah, so of course when I first started the agency, I realized there was a lack of demand of short form video content, especially when it was rising. Like I think nowadays when it comes to ad speed, the platform, photos and GIF are not performing as well anymore. So 2 years ago, I started to create an agency that we specialize a lot in short form vertical videos. Yeah.
So who are you working with? Like what sort of companies are you working with at the agency?
So we work with a lot of like regional brands. I think like Nando's, like Canon. So
Nando's. All right. So we were talking about this earlier, and I was like, yeah, I love Nando's. My son loves Nando's, and I only get it when I get to come here. So talk about what you would do for Nando's or what you've done for Nando's. How did you help them understand the world of short form video?
So the thing is, if a creator can build something out of zero, it should be easier for a brand because a brand already has a story to tell. But I guess for the more traditional type of advertising, it's mostly photos and like what's the promotions. It's never about telling their story out. So for us, we try to tell Nando's story, like be it making the cooking looks fun, making the dishes looks nice, and jumping onto trends, doing like trend jacking. There's a lot of trends on TikTok too where they even say like brands should comment for no reason. Many brands just comment and they get like many followers because of that. So we help brands to jump on such things.
So when you're working with Nando's or other brands, are you managing their digital for them? Are you training their internal people on how to jump in and do comments? Are you finding other creators to work with them to tell their story? Are you aligning that up? Or like what is the... Are you trying to train them to do it themselves, or are you basically finding people to do it for them?
So we have a full in-house team that supports it because I believe there will be a lack of demand. Like
Yeah.
it'll be quite hard. Like even though if I tell them there'll be no one to do it, so we decided to build an in-house team specialized for it. Yeah.
And how do you get the brands to move quickly? I mean, trends on TikTok go like, they're there, and then 2 days later, it's another trend.
Yep.
Brands don't typically move that quickly. What do you do to, kick them into gear?
So we just keep bugging them. Like I think if they want to be on trend, they have to be fast. Sometimes.
Yeah. And are you finding them receptive to that?
Yeah, I think brands are getting more receptive and more open. I think in the past, even when it comes to working as a creator, we have to follow the brief strictly. But recently, I find that they are quite open to any ideas that we give to. Like it's never so rigid as before. Yeah.
Yeah. My sense is that creators have more power now than they did before, and that they're able to do that. And also, I think, and you sort of just confirmed this, but that brands realize that they can't do it themselves and that they need to be native on the platforms, right?
Yep, because like if the brand do it themselves or they give a brief to many creators, it's just one voice, like one creativity, like just on different people. But when they engage them, they should be engaging their creativity, not just the content itself. So I think that's what brands are realizing and they're moving towards to it. Yeah.
How are you finding brands adopting different platforms? Do you primarily help brands with TikTok? Or are you also doing shorts and reels and long form and things like that?
Mostly like short form videos like is the focus now. I think when they create a short form content, they can put it on TikTok, they can put it on YouTube, they can put it on Instagram Reels, they can put it on Facebook, they can run as advertisement. So many things you can do with it. And this gets better engagement than just a photo. Right.
Yeah, but it's a lot of work. I mean, it's work to build your community on these different platforms.
Yep.
Do you tell them to start with one first and then move into the others, or you just do them all at once?
So what do you mean by
When you think about it, when you go to a brand, a Nando's or a game brand or somebody else, and do you say like build TikTok first and then move to shorts, or do you say do it all at once?
I think do it all at once since you already have the content, because what you don't want is you post it and it's a good content, people take it and they post on other platform first.
Right.
They may get the content ID first. Like
Yep.
they own the copyright. Yeah.
Right, yeah, you don't want that to happen definitely as well. Any big success story that you've worked with on a brand, or maybe a horror story, like something that didn't work?
As a creator? Or?
No, just with the agency.
I guess when it comes to I guess why many agencies don't do videos, because it takes a lot of time. And of course, when it comes to, because a photo is very easy to edit. If you don't like it, the graphic you can send back. It's easy to make revisions. But I guess sometimes when it comes to brands, they approve like everything, the concepts, and when you film the video, it's not what they want, and then you got to reshoot it. I think that's like horror. Like
Yeah, definitely. They're like, wait, we have to do this again. It was perfect. It was great the way it was. Come on. All right, so you got a bunch of brands here in the room.
Yep.
What do you want to tell them about why they should work with you? Why should a brand work with you as a creator or you as an agency?
As a creator, of course, I would say, like if you want sales, I couldn't guarantee this. But if you want awareness, I can definitely do it for you. Like more people to know more about your brand. But as an agency, of course, we have a team of very good creators. One of them is down there. Like we have this here. Like he has 3 million followers. So
All right.
So the thing is, our team, when it comes to the ideation part, we have top creators coming out with ideas for the brands before they pass on to someone more experienced to run the account for them. So we have a system built in place to make sure that the brands can come out with creative ideas, yet still professional. Yeah.
All right, we just have a couple seconds left, but give me one thing you think is going to happen, one prediction for the creator economy in 2023.
I think short form content will be the future.
Short form content rules it all. And how about one thing that people think might happen that's not going to happen?
Might happen. Crypto.
Crypto. All right, you guys give it up for Ming Wei. Amazing, great creator. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Here,